Unreal Tournament 3.
Hi, I'm Steve Polge, and I'm the lead designer for Unreal Tournament 3. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the game and hopefully explain to you why it's going to be a lot of fun to play. When we first started talking about Unreal Tournament, our first idea was let's increase the scope and the scale of it and have 64-player games and these huge maps and take advantage of the streaming levels that you can do with Unreal Engine 3 so that you're playing from map to map. And we started playing around with that and trying that and realized this is not really making the game more fun, and it's kind of getting away from the essence of what we think Unreal Tournament is. And so we kind of figured out what were the best ideas that really work in Unreal Tournament that we could get out of that and kind of refocus the game around those and brought the game back in to feel more like Unreal Tournament.
The cool thing about Unreal is that because it has existed before and now it's a refining of something that's a known factor, the game was playable, the game was fun very early on. So we weren't having, as artists, we weren't having to change scope at all. We knew how big the levels were going to be. We knew what the memory budgets, what the polygon budgets were, having shipped Gears already. So it was a more defined space that we were working in, and then it was just a matter of, like I said, just kind of finding the right balance between the amount of detail in the world. But bottom line is we wanted it to be visually fun as well. I mean, UT is bigger, it's bolder. The color choices were not as desaturated as Gears. It's definitely much more bold colors, and that's part of the franchise itself.
And this is the third generation of Unreal Tournament running on Unreal Engine 3, which is our new engine we're very proud of. You'll see a little bit visually why we think it's so cool. As a gameplay programmer at heart, what I find is the Unreal Engine gives me the freedom to make fun games and focus on that as opposed to focusing on adding engine features. And I think that's critical. I think that it has a huge impact on our productivity in terms of being able to make the game more fun.
From a design perspective, while there is the overlying look and feel of the game, there are so many different environments, there's so many different weapons, there's so many different vehicles, you can kind of go anywhere and do everything. It's the ultimate sci-fi fantasy universe where there are no real rules. You can kind of do whatever you want. The only real rule that we stick to is it has to be fun. Other than that, there are no boundaries. We're aiming for 3 to 4 dozen maps total in the game. The single-player campaign will be even longer than that. Vehicles, I think we have well over a dozen, maybe approaching 2 dozen if you count things like mobile turrets and the hoverboard and things of that nature. Weapons, again, off the top of my head, I can't say exactly how many, close to a dozen different styles, and then each of those has at least 2 firing modes, so there's, the list keeps adding to itself, so to speak.
UT versus Gears, or a more confined game like that, UT is about big, huge distances, vehicle CTF, things where we still have to play in the exact same kind of polygon count and memory budget, and yet we have these spaces that are much more massive, and we still have to visually give you the amount of detail that people have come to expect. And so it's kind of a huge challenge, but I think we were able to find the right balance there. The speed of Unreal is so quick as you move around that it's not kind of a walk-through environment. You're running through the environment, you're flying through. And so we were able to kind of just like put a lot of cool things at eye level, make sure there's a lot of detail where you're going to see them, and then back off in other areas.
As always, the first thing we start with is fun. We build a very, very basic BSP shell, which is just basic primitives, a square hallway and a flat floor, and play it. And we'll drop a few weapons in there, and we'll play it with the guys in the office, and we'll just test it, and make some changes if we need to, until we're sure that it's fun. From there, it goes to an art team, which is sometimes the same guys, sometimes not, and they're the ones who do the pretty pass. They add the static meshes and focus more on texturing. Sometimes we'll get a concept before we start that process so that it kind of has a unified look and feel. Once that is set, it goes to a lighting team who does a lighting pass on it, and then it comes back to the gameplay guys finally to do and fix any if a wall got moved a few units because of meshing and messed up pathing or something like that. We'll do the final tweaks on that and performance and make sure that it stays back in that fun state, that nothing got changed along the way. And then in the final mix, you've got everything that kind of comes together to create the level. So.
So yeah, UT is not about cover, right? UT is action-packed. It's Gears on crack, I guess is another way of saying it. And what we're trying to do is have the same kind of visceral, you're bashing other people in and blowing them up kind of gameplay, but non-stop. I mean, you die, you respawn right away, you're back in the action, and every weapon is super powerful and destructive. And but at the same time, weapons take skill, and and there's a lot of balance and rock paper scissors kind of gameplay between the weapons. But certainly, yeah, and Gears on crack.
Unreal Tournament 3.